I would say, and we're live, but we're just going to go with it. So as you guys can see, it's just Casey and I. And
I'm Casey.
Oh, yeah. And I'm Kevin. And today's episode is going to be called Two Guys, One Cup. So Matt's working, doing some OT with his crew, getting some stuff done, he said. And James is, go figure, at a concert. So
one of the many.
Yes. So for you guys, I guess James is not in the concert field, but his company does websites for, I guess, venues. Venues, right? So
yeah.
I guess he gets to go on a lot of concerts. So Casey and I talked, and we're like, hey, we're still going to do this. So it's going to be the best show ever, I think.
Greatest one yet.
Yep.
Number 62.
So, I think it's more than that.
69. Greatest show 69.
There you go. We can just skip like 5 episodes and call it episode 69.
This is going to be worth that many, at least.
Yeah. So we don't have to do any of the stuff that we normally do because it's just us two. So we can talk and bullshit. And most of you guys are probably, so Casey, you're the driver all the time. So we can talk about things that you would want to hear and bullshit you want to hear on podcasts when you're doing these drives. Because I just did a long drive to Virginia, and it was the first time ever I listened to podcasts. My daughter says that I listen to douchebag podcasts, or what did she call me? Dad podcast. So I listened to Joe Rogan one. It was almost 3 hours long. Kind of, in my opinion, like white noise a little bit. So yeah, we'll talk about whatever you would want to talk about. I know there's a couple things that we're gonna talk about, which is going to be bourbon, because we never talk about fucking bourbon. So I have 3 bottles that I got, and I asked Casey which one what I'm going to crack open. So I got the typical Blanton's bullshit. I know everybody likes this, but I'm not a fan. I don't know. It's good, but it's not worth the hype, in my opinion. The secondary, it's like $250 here in Florida.
Yeah.
I think it's what...
And that's come down a little bit because 21, 22, that was $300 bottle.
Yeah.
At least around here.
Right. And I think what's MSRP is like, what, $80?
Ish. Yeah.
Ish?
I mean,
89?
Yeah. It's somewhere in that range. I mean, it used to be 60, 65, but I think, MSRP's gone up a little bit. But.
And then I got a bottle of Eagle Rare. It's just aged. Nothing special about this one. So what's secondary price on this?
Around here, probably close to $100, somewhere in that range. Secondary.
Okay. And what did it used to be? What's like MSRP on this?
I think regular Eagle Rare is a $60 bottle.
Okay. So MSRP is about the same price between those two, right? Like,
yeah,
$20 difference. But the markup on a Bland's is over 100%. So before I get to the next bottle, why do you think that is? Marketing?
It's the cool little horsies on top
that everyone wants to collect. In fact, one of my friends asked me for the B, and then I asked you because I didn't have it. And he collects them, and I was like, you can go on Amazon, and Blanton's actually sells all of them and a thing for like $70.
Yeah.
And then I got this bottle. So you guys know, I don't know if you guys know, but if you watch the podcast, I'm always drinking Diet Coke because my studio is at my work. So I just go into the media department and set up here. So I only have a 2-mile drive, but there always is a cop inside of my neighborhood. But today, I'm actually going to drink some shit. So, and then I have Weller Special Reserve.
Green label, yep.
Yep. So
that's a $35 bottle.
Oh, okay. And secondary? Nothing? It's always available?
No, it's at least not in Virginia. But that's probably a $60 bottle. Secondary.
So I'm going to crack this open. Let's see if we can put it on.
That's a freshie.
Yes, nice screw top like Mad Dog 2020. So I got my LeCarron today. I brought this from home today. Man, I should put that on the.
This should be on the intro. You remember the old Lil Wayne rap songs where they'd have his lighter?
The lighter?
Yep. Yeah.
My daughter tells me about that shit all the time. Yes. All right. So we'll see how far the more I drink, I think the more interesting this podcast is going to be.
Likely so. But while you're getting into that, I did that kind of history of old fashioned long time ago, and so I thought we could bring that back a little bit. And so the drink I chose was a Gold Rush, which I was not familiar with because I drink old fashions, Manhattans, and straight bourbon, and that's about the only bourbon drinks I have. On top of a Rye Rita, I'm now a big fan of the Rye Rita. So anyhow, Gold Rush was only invented in New York at Milk and Honey in 1999, 2000, which is weird. That cocktail that is so popular, it was invented so recently, but the original recipe is just 2 ounces of Elijah Craig 12-year, which doesn't exist right now, at least off the shelf. 3/4 ounce of lemon juice, 3/4 ounce of heavy syrup, honey syrup, which is just 3 parts honey, 1 part water that you heat up to mix in, and then it turns liquid, right? It, like I said, it was just invented in roughly 2000 at Milk and Honey in New York, and within a couple years, it got so popular in New York. Within a couple years, the guy who invented it, which was a partner in Milk and Honey, was walking by another restaurant and saw that it was already on a classic cocktail billboard for another restaurant, which is kind of funny. But anywho, super simple drink. It's really good. It's light. It's refreshing. Like I said, it's very similar to a whiskey sour. And so I decided I would have one tonight, but I don't carry lemons in the house. I only have limes. And I have Wild Turkey 101, which is kind of my base. I do have Knob Creek, which was another suggestion at Milk and Honey. So I have a Turkey 101 with 3/4 ounce lime and then heavy syrup. And I'm calling it a Turkey Rush. And it is fantastic. And I'll post a picture just because we need pictures. And this is supposed to be a somewhat YouTube podcast. Oops, I can't hit the button. And so if anybody's watching, this is what my wonderful Turkey Rush looks like. And it's very good. Shake it up in your shaker. It gets a little foamy. You could do it with egg whites, just like a whiskey sour, and then it would have really a foamy head. But I'm not doing all that work. And it's really good. It's light. It's a great summer drink. I'm gonna.
Have you had it the other way, the Lime Rush or the Gold Rush or whatever you call it, before?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. Not that I remember off the top of my head.
Okay.
Because if I'm out, I usually don't even look at the cocktail list. I either want an old fashioned, I'll get a bourbon and ginger if it's like a loud bar type setting where you're moving around a lot. But otherwise, I don't really drink cocktails all that much, like true cocktails. So I don't even look at the list. So if it was on a list, I would have overlooked it anyway. And so no, this is first go, and I really like it.
Well, I can tell you this Weller is 90 proof, and it needs to breathe. It's pretty
it's
alcohol-y.
Yeah,
it's ethanol. I just stick my nose to it. I'm like, whoa, yeah, very ethanol. Like, I was gonna take a sip of it, but I'm like, damn, I need to make this breathe. So
yeah, we forget, or a lot of people forget, because the Wellers are so sought after, that Weller Special Reserve is a entry level bourbon. The proof tells you that, the price point tells you that, the flavor profile tells you that. It should not be a coveted bottle of bourbon, but in these weird times, as the bourbon boom has gone, it has kind of become that. I'm hoping that it comes back to the shelves here in Virginia, which is my basis for understanding where the economy is. But right now it's not there. But we're seeing some other crazy stuff on the shelf. But it's an entry level bourbon. It's to me,
I mean,
it's
the
no different.
ethanol is so. I mean, just even at 2 inches from the rim of the current, it's like, whew, wow, like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
pretty.
Let it if you can let it chill for a few minutes, and it should air out a bit. But it's I mean, it's a basic bourbon.
So I will say, I just took a sip of it. Even though it is ethanol-y, it does go down smooth.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't hit you in the back like uh some. So I definitely can tell it's 90 proof because it's not hitting me like a 100, 101 or higher proof. Surprisingly, for as much ethanol that I smell, it's pretty smooth. Does have a little bit of heat in the back. I
Well, do
would
you?
crack some of the other ones, but I. So I was telling you, Casey, I typically take a bottle, finish it,
Mm-hmm.
like enjoy it. Um, I'm currently right now drinking Jack Daniels, bottled and bonded. It's 100 proof, very good. I mixed it yesterday. We were talking about this offline with some ski. So if there's any people that know what ski is, it's some bullshit soda that my wife brings back from Indiana. She is from Evansville, and they have ski pies, ski margaritas. They have a Winterfest or Summerfest. I think it's a fall festival. That's what it's called. And all of these little pop up stands, it's all stuff with ski. Like
Yeah.
it's amazing. And I thought it was like for a long time. She told me it was it's from Indiana, and I was like, I'm like, I don't, you guys, I haven't even seen the ski factory. What's this factory at? And I Wikipedia'd it, and it said, yeah, it's not from there, but I guess it's this culture thing that they have there because they make so many things from ski. Yeah, I actually she brought some back, like I don't know, 10 cases of the shit, and I mixed it in, and it was actually it tastes like Mountain Dew to me, a little bit different, but it was
Yeah.
okay.
So, according to the Wikipedia, it's made by Double Cola Company.
Okay,
I've never heard of that, but I know that we have this in. Oh, it's formulated in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So we definitely have it in Eastern Kentucky. You don't see it so much like in Lexington, but if you go east of Lexington, you'll definitely see it. And there's another drink that we occasionally see. This one I didn't know where it was made, but it's made in Phoenix. But it's Squirt. Have you heard of Squirt soda?
oh yeah, well we have Squirt here, yeah, yeah.
It's
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 funny
everywhere.
how and I'd love to hear you guys like please comment on YouTube, like what is the drink, and I'm not talking like your normal Pepsi, Diet Pepsi and stuff. I'm from California, and the one drink that I remember is called Cactus Cooler.
Mm.
So it's a pineapple citrus soda, and every time I go to California, I look for it. And normally, it's and I only remember it because it was in the soda machines in high school.
Mm.
So I go over there and like I look for it and I buy it because it does remind me of like home, And I know my wife's same situation. Hers is ski. I know people, double cola, cherry wine, So definitely send us
Mine
some
is
comments.
mine
Yes.
is L8.
Oh, never even heard of that.
L8 one is from Winchester, Kentucky, and it's a citrusy, a ginger ale type flavor as well.
Yeah. It's when we live here in Florida, I noticed that everybody pretty much just you call it a Coke, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we don't have anything, but I know up in Chattanooga, Midwest, there are different drink flavors. And there's a lot of
RC
companies.
Cola.
Yeah, RC Cola.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Matter of fact,
actually this.
we just coming home on Sunday from the beach, the concert. We stopped at a local barbecue joint, and they had a soda fountain that was a soda that I've never heard of, and I'm not going to remember it. But it was something completely new and different as well, which is weird when you have these, people's allegiance to soda, I'll call it, or pop, is so tight that it's interesting to have a startup restaurant not have Coke or Pepsi. But this one had completely different get up, and it was good. I just tried their root beer because I figured that would be kind of a classic take, but it was good. It was different.
Now, here in Florida, and I don't know if you guys have it too, and some of the listener states, we have a lot of times we'll have like a taco stand, or we'll have kind of a new age restaurant that will have um, their sodas, but they're like they didn't want to talk to Coke and they didn't want to talk to Pepsi, so they put that bootleg soda drink in there,
Yeah.
and
It's ass.
it always lasts about 6 months to a year, and then like it's out because people are like, "What is this shit?"
Yeah.
Like, so we had a taco place called Capital Taco here, and they actually had it for quite a long time, and I was like, "Man, this is just disgusting! Like, what the hell?" It's almost like buying that soda machine that they have at the stores, that you
where
can
you just put CO2 in it and the syrup.
yeah, exactly. So
I think that, like I said, people are so aligned with their favorite soda, and when you go to a restaurant that maybe you haven't tried before, you almost look for that place to have something you recognize, right? Because it's a new restaurant, they're going to have new, whatever, new taco, and it's like you want to have one thing consistent. It's like, I know what Pepsi tastes like, I know what Coke tastes like, or Mountain Dew or whatever, and it's like I need that one safe space to go try something new. And when you have to have everything new, I think people wig out, especially in like a fast food type restaurant, right? Because those are like the most people just roll through that stuff so routinely. They like know what they want, they don't look around, and they roll. And I think it's probably true for the soda aspect.
So I'm going in for my second pour. So we'll see how much.
You had to remember, you were saying that it doesn't have much bite. Weller is a wheated bourbon, right? So it's not going to have that rye spice to it at all because it's got no rye in it.
So tell me about. I hear some people talk about the neck pour.
I don't believe it.
I don't. So what is the? I don't believe it either. But what am I referring to?
So the neck pour would be referencing usually the first pour out of the bottle, the first 3 or 4 ounces out of the bottle. That's literally in the neck of the bottle. And what they'll say is that pour is going to taste different than future pours. And that could be true to a certain level, in that the first pour out has not been exposed to oxygen, but that's why you let it sit in your glass for a moment. That does not mean that bourbon, like, there's not really anything changing, in my opinion. I've tasted, a lot of different bottles, and if you let it sit for a moment, it'll taste the same.
Yeah, I kind of
At
agree.
least to I still call my palate a novice palate. So to my novice palate, the neck pour, after it sits a moment, tastes exactly the same as the rest of the bottle, until you get down to maybe the last third or quarter of it. I do think that it softens up, especially if it's been open for a long time. A lot of people do recommend, and I think I notice, although it can be like knowledge bias, but I do think I noticed that the last little bit of a bottle will be softer, sometimes to my liking, but not on purpose. I don't do that on purpose, but I do think that once I get down to like that quarter of a bottle, I'll go ahead and finish that pretty quickly. Because I
kind of agree exactly what you said. When I hear people say, "Oh yeah, it's the neck pour," I literally kind of look at them like, "Yeah, you don't know that much." Not to say that I do, but I'm just like, no. I've drank a lot of bourbon, and it kind of all tastes the same because when someone pours wine, they always say, "Oh, it's a fresh bottle." Or I'll give you an example: Pappy, 20 year, right? Somebody wants to drink a unopened bottle, opposed to a bottle that's been sitting on the shelf so they will be, hey, it's a new bottle. Oh, okay. Opposed, because you don't know how long that bottle's been sitting there.
I think bourbon's very, very different than wine, right? Because I think it's very easy to tell if a bottle of wine has been open for a day. If you go to a restaurant and you ask, so I like a big, bold red, so I usually go for like red Zins. And if I can immediately taste if that bottle's been open for a day, whether you are doing the air suction thing, which we have, but or it's just been had the cork placed back in it, thrown in the fridge. I can taste that, and I hate it. And so if I'm going to an expensive restaurant, I will ask, please open a new bottle, because if you're paying $30 for a glass of wine, I want a freaking new bottle. I want it to taste good. Bourbon, I would bet a lot of money on anyone coming over to my bourbon closet and tasting a half full bottle of bourbon of any countless brand that I have and telling me that it tastes different than the day it was opened.
Yeah.
Or sitting or blind tasting it beside a brand new open bottle.
Now, I mean, yeah, as long as it's closed and sealed, I think it's gonna be, fine.
And not exposed to sunlight.
Yep.
I do think that sunlight can do stuff, but no, I think if it's in my cold, dark closet, I think it's going to be completely fine for a long time.
So yeah, it actually is pretty. It's not bad. So I'll just keep on sipping on this, and by I don't know, we're only a couple minutes into this. So, what do you like to listen to when you're talking or you're driving your 2, 3, 4 hours drive? Because we'll talk about anything. I'll talk about paint dry.
Well, so as Kevin and I were talking about, like, hey, what are we going to talk about tonight? I was like, man, I really, I don't have car people around me here. I don't really know anyone locally that's a car person that I can go to Cars and Coffee with and bullshit about whatever. And so in the car, the main podcast I listen to literally every single day is Kentucky Sports Radio, which is a ridiculously stupid radio show, but it's a daily show and it's hilarious. But other than that, I listen to like this Car Pod, which is that's DeMuro. I listen to Smoking Tire, which is of course Matt Farah. I've started to get into Spike's car radio a little bit. They can be a bit bland sometimes, but Jerry Seinfeld's awesome, and so he's on there often. And as I was saying in the group chat, like I really enjoy Seinfeld. He's very nostalgic for me since I grew up watching Seinfeld. But his car knowledge and obviously his collection's unbelievable. But then I get into like murder mystery podcasts, a lot of the unsolved podcasts I'm listening to, like Unraveled, which is about the Long Island serial killer. I listen to Bourbon Pursuit. And then, so really, I try to get the vast majority of time I spend listening to the Smoking Tire and this Car Pod. And because those are both long form, this Car Pod's an hour, Smoking Tire, when he's talking about cars, goes, an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours sometimes. He gets a little off the rails for me politically. But yeah, I try to catch up on car knowledge because, like I said, I don't have anybody to talk to. And then there's Nine Works Radio. Have you heard of them? They're English.
No, I don't listen to any podcasts. I listen to good old fashioned radio. Well, actually, I don't listen to. So when I do, if I'm just like when I leave here, I'm gonna throw on 102 The Bone, which is pretty much talk radio, but it's not like AM. It's FM. It's rock and roll. I'll listen, but it's 2 hours, right? So, and then like today, but for the most part, it's Spotify and I'm listening to music.
So I when I started this career, I listened to music, solely music.
And you find it was like the same shit years. Over and over. Right.
Yeah. And, you can, originally this was 16, 17 years ago, there was iPods, but getting iPod onto your car was very difficult at the time. So I had like satellite radio and local radio stations. And I did that for years, driving from like Lexington to Pikeville, Lexington to Middlesboro, Lexington to E-Town. And it just, it wore me out. Like I knew every song frontwards and backwards, which is fine. But like, sometimes you just crave something else. So then I started getting into like audiobooks, which I still do a lot of audiobooks. And then, podcasts kind of blew up. And the podcast, I think, is really cool because, again, you can get long frame or long form interviews and discussions, which is exactly what we're trying to do here, about anything and everything. And so I try to expand my topics occasionally, branching out, but a lot of them are poorly done. And so I tend to, branch out and retract over and over again. And I kind of end up maybe adding one, but a lot of them are just like, they get 10 episodes and then they're gone forever. And that can be disappointing. But, yeah, I think the breadth of podcasts out there is amazing. A lot of them are very poorly done. I hope we're not one of those, but,
I mean, I did listen to one of, I think two of them are ours. And if any of you guys do podcasts and stuff, I know, like, me personally, I think Casey sounds the same. I think Matt sounds the same. I think James sounds the same in person. Then I hear my voice and I'm like, oh, do I really sound like that? Like, I know I have an accent and I have no idea where my accent comes from. My father's from Georgia. My mom is Mexican. So I've moved around a lot of times, but I've been told many times that I sound like somebody from, like, everyone that I know that's Asian from California sounds like me. Like, I mean, they're
that's
American,
not what
right?
I would have expected. Yeah.
Right, but I'm not saying like I'm not saying Asian, like maybe second generation Asian.
Okay.
When I was a kid, everybody used to say, "You sound like you're from New Jersey."
I
Okay,
don't hear that. I don't hear
no,
that at all.
no. So I'm like, okay, but when I was listening, I was like, oh my god, I cannot stand the shit. So I actually had to put a podcast in, and I will say it does make the trip go a lot faster. So that's probably why a lot of people listen to them. And I was kind of intrigued. I was trying to watch the news thing, and I got to get with Matt and find out how we can maybe figure out how to do this Spotify, because most people do listen to it on Spotify. We found from our information, I guess, or whatever, this analytics. Yeah. So, fun fact: I don't drink a lot anymore because I've lost so much weight.
Fun fact: you are fucked up already.
So I'm already like, oh wow, okay. This is so normally about one or two drinks. 2 drinks is kind of my limit. I'm gonna see if I can do like 3, maybe have my wife pick me up. I think you guys are kind of hearing this as it's yeah, I'm already starting to sweat a little bit. So I'm like, damn, is it hot? I mean, it is hot in here. It's 80 degrees, but
It is hot.
yeah, I have a foreigner work for me, and he likes it hot in here. So by the end of the podcast, I'll probably start talking in Australian accent, and we'll see how.
Yeah, that'll be great. So the hard thing I think about doing a podcast during the summer, especially about whiskey, watches, and wheels, is there's nothing freaking going on. We don't really talk F1 at all, which that this season's been pretty exciting. But we're not really, it's hard to follow, at least for me. Like IMSA racing, I can read about it, I can't really watch it. MotoGP racing, the same thing. I don't have time to watch any of this stuff, so I just end up reading about it, which makes it less exciting and harder to follow when you're just looking at the numbers and seeing who won and whatever. The interviews are great, I guess, but what is your all's main activity during the summer? I mean, it's hot as fuck in Florida. So what are you all doing? Like, it's got to be starting to get miserable.
Yes, it is. It is actually getting pretty hot. Like, so normally, aside from work, as the listeners have heard, I have a house in St. Augustine. So this is about a time the jet ski, man, I am getting buzzed. The jet ski comes out of storage and goes over to St. Augustine, and we do fishing. Now, because I'm getting older, I don't know, my hips are getting fucked up. So this is going to be the year that we take out the jet ski. And I know my wife's going to listen to this podcast, and she's going to tell me, no, you're not. But I'm the one who has to back up the truck and put it in the water. So I'm going to see my hips lock up. You and I had talked about this based on, what you do for a living and what I could do. But if I sit at a certain position, they lock up. So, I've done stretching. I've done all these things. So my wife loves to fish. I don't like fishing, but I do appease her because she's my wife. So we do fishing. We go to St. Augustine. We do a lot of drinking, but it's fucking hot. So in St. Augustine, there are some days there that there's no breeze. Air cooled cars,
Not happening.
not happening. So I do have AC in both of my cars, but the problem with, as you guys, as any 911 owner knows, especially air cooled, you get that AC and you get to use it while it's in the garage and you got to drive. You set that thing parked and you come back, it ain't cooling off. Like, and I'm not one of those guys that I'm not 21 anymore. Like, I'm not rolling my window down. I'm not driving none of that shit. Like,
you're talking about the air cooled.
Yes. So I'm not driving with my windows down. Like, I mean, there's been when I was, and I think a lot of us when we were young, and I still have some guys at work that still do that. They still drive home, and they're not smokers. They still drive home with their window down. Like, it's cool. Like, I used to do that when I had a Honda Civic. Like, windows were always fucking. Now I did smoke at the time, but windows were always down. That doesn't happen for me anymore.
Yeah, I in the mountains, on track, of course, because it's mandated. I'll be windows down, right? But if I'm driving down the interstate normally, not a chance in hell.
I don't want to smell that carbon monoxide. Like,
no, I'm not doing it. Now in town, if I'm acting a fool, I'll roll my windows down just so I can hear my exhaust piss people off. But otherwise, I'm a windows up dude too. Now, fortunately, the 997 has a air conditioner that will freeze you out. It'll freeze you out. Oh my God, it'll freeze you out. Yes, absolutely. I mean, I treat the AC in my car like I do in my Cayenne. Like, I'll put it on 68 and just like give it a minute and it'll freeze you out. It's a good AC. We'll see how Ashley's car reacts this summer, but I imagine newer car is going to be even better than mine, and I'm sure it'll do just fine. But she's her commute is very short, and often she's windows down because it's not like high speed. It's like 40 miles an hour from the house to work to house. But I think I too, at this point, if I had to drive to and from work at normal 9 to 5 hours, no way in hell I could be in an air cooled. It's too hot. Even here in Virginia. Now, my work, I'm going to work much earlier than that. And so I could probably manage it at 6 o'clock in the morning.
But 6 o'clock in the morning is probably during the summertime 69.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but it's 84 degrees here with a humidity of 100%.
Yeah. I mean, you're wiping the water off your face as you're walking to the car in the morning. But similarly, that you all.
So, back to your original question. Summertime, it is starting to get hot. A lot of it is really like you're just trying to stay out of the heat, like literally trying to stay out of the heat. So it's a lot of like, there's no more, oh, would you like to sit outside? No, I don't want to sit outside. Yeah. That's not going to happen. So summertime's, and I don't like the beach because I grew up on a beach. I don't like sand. I'm the one who has to clean the car, vacuum it out.
You're such a curmudgeon.
Yes, I was just talking to somebody about this. Like, as I'm getting older, I'm getting to the point where things are frustrating. I think Matt, I was talking to him offline. Like, every little thing frustrates, and I think I've talked to you too, like, frustrates the shit out of me. I think I'm going to be that old man that I pull into a gas station and someone says I was waiting here, and I'm going to, like, pour them with gas. Like, I'm going to be that fucker. Or I'm going to be that guy who just, like, pretends I didn't see I actually probably not going to be like that person, but, the guy that walks in front of you at the grocery store. Not that I've been to one in a long time, but, just cuts you off. So I don't know. We kind of say, if we do any water activities, I know you have a boat. We used to have a boat. My ass was in the water. If we weren't actively fishing
in the water,
I was in the water to my neck the whole time with like a drink in my hand.
That's hilarious because that's how I am, right? I have a 97 Malibu Response. So it's a center engine is in basically the center of the boat. The prop is under the boat. It's a ski boat. It's kind of a
number 3.
It's kind of similar to the boat that I grew up
Okay.
on, so I'm very nostalgic about it. Um, but anyhow, we go out to the river. What is Tappahannock, Virginia. So we go. It's about an hour. I think it's an hour, 90 minutes, door to door or door to boat in the water, 90 minutes. So for me, that's amazing. I love that, and so I can go pick up the boat. Ashley and I throw a cooler in, and we're in the water in 90 minutes. Uh, but she is not as
But
much.
90 minutes, that's a hell of a drive. Like for us, man, living in Florida, 90 minutes to go.
Well, yeah, you're spoiled. You can't look at Florida as
But
the
I know, but when I say that for you, it's like even though going to the water is an outing for us, like you guys are planning on that. That's an all day event. We're going. It's 90 minutes. We're gonna go and we're spending
oh, I
all
lied. I
freaking day.
lied to you. It's an hour. It's right at an
Okay,
hour.
all
But
right.
either
So
way,
that is similar to me. At least in Tampa. So I don't live in Tampa proper. I do live in Pasco County. So for me to go to the water on the West Coast, it is about an hour. Same as
I
you.
yeah, I will. An hour is perfect in my opinion for us in this scenario because we're not right on the water, which I'd be right on the water, but then I'd be way the fuck out of my territory. So being that I can do it in an hour um, is amazing. But similarly, Ashley and I'm the one that if we've decided to stop, like I like cruising, right? I like the wind and I like the noise of the boat. And I love the water. We're splashing around, like I love it. But when it's time to stop, my ass is getting in the water. Like it's hot, and I've got a bimini top, like I've got the sunshade, and Ashley's like, "Get that off of me! I need all the sun." But I'm like, "Get in the water! My ass is here. I'm in the river, just like you. I've got my koozie or my floaty cup. I'm on the inner tube, tied to the boat. I'm falling in, getting the back up on the tube, and that is a perfect Saturday for me is floating on that damn boat, jetting around, jumping in. I can occasionally convince Ashley to pull me up on the wakeboard or my fat ass.
That was going to be my next question. Do you guys do any skiing? Uh,
Yeah, yeah. So I grew up water skiing and wakeboarding, and so I've I bought a slalom ski a couple years ago and wakeboard. And when we have other people visit, I throw them on a tube and break their
yeah, sling
arms.
them around, break their
Yeah,
fucking necks. Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Do you guys have sandbars at some of the?
Yeah, so where we dock, it's about 2 miles. I think when I've done it on the GPS on the phone, 2 or 2.5 miles just across the river on the other side and slightly north. And there is a huge, it's not a sandbar, it's really just the other side of the river. But there's no houses. It's just a beach. And there would be 60, 70 boats
Hmm.
just parked there, and people, some are floating 20, well, I guess it's not 20 feet, but 20 yards off the shore, which is usually what I do because I need to get an anchor. But a lot of them are anchored up on the shore or beached, and there's music going.
Yeah.
There's some dogs running up and down the beach. There's people enjoying themselves, and it's a lot of fun. And you can talk to your neighbors or not talk to your neighbors or float up or float down, whatever it is. But it's a good time, and um, you
And when
don't.
you say it's a river, that in my definition of a river, meaning it actually is running into the ocean, or is it
Yeah,
not?
yes, yeah,
Okay.
it is. Yeah, it's running into Chesapeake Bay.
Okay.
We're just far upstream. It would take
Okay.
us, I think, maybe an hour or an hour and a half boat ride to get down to the bay. So we're a fair distance up. Although on the map, I mean, it's probably 40 miles, so it'd probably take us an hour and a half. But
Yeah, I mean, you know, kind of like you said, in Florida, the only people that are going to, Disney and stuff like that are tourists, right? Because of
Mhm,
summer.
mhm.
Um, but for the most part, you kind of do everything that you got to do early in the morning. If you have to mow your grass, you're doing that super early in the morning
Or
because
super
believe it or
late.
not,
Yeah.
well, super late is actually the hottest time in Florida. It's the hottest time because for us, the ground has saturated with heat.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
that 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock is actually the hottest. It's not noon. It's actually 4 o'clock is the hottest part of the day.
Yeah.
So you're getting up in the morning.
Here it's similar. It's like 4:30 or 5, just because we're further north. But yeah, it's similar here. But at least the sun is not shining directly on top of your skull.
So a lot of people were just doing outdoor stuff, but predominantly it is beach stuff. And because I don't like the beach, and because I'm a, as you say, curmudgeon. There you go. Yeah, we pretty much just go bar hopping. It has to have air conditioning, which, funny I say that because the bar that we used to go to all the time, as you've been, called No Name, and shout out to No Name over there. No fucking AC.
No AC.
You're literally dripping sweat.
Yeah.
But the pores are so strong there that you don't even know.
And they got fans, right? Don't they have fans?
Yeah, they do have fans.
They got fans.
So it really depends on, in Florida, it definitely, I feel like I'm sounding like Matt saying, so, so it rains every afternoon here. So when you do come, it's pretty much going to rain every afternoon, about 3-4 o'clock, and then it's going to stop, and then you're going to have a sauna.
Yeah.
So, Florida's, I love it here. I have never lived anywhere other than California and Florida. I would, if I had I would like to try somewhere like Arizona or New Mexico, where it's dry heat.
But not like the mountains that we enjoy driving. You don't think you'd enjoy living there?
No, I can't deal. The problem with me is I can't deal with winters. Like
you got a lot of stuff you can't deal with. You can't deal with.
I got a lot of fucking baggage. No, I mean I can deal with heat. So here's the deal: heat is uncomfortable, right? Cold hurts, which I love cold, but I cannot live in a place. We have a friend, George. Shout out to George, who listens to us all the time. He lives in fucking Ohio.
Yeah,
I would literally murder my fucking self. Yeah. I have to have sun. If I don't have sun, and if it's gloomy here for 3-4 days, I either have to, by the 5th day, find sun, or I'm in a tanning bed. I have to have that vitamin, D.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I've never lived in. My wife, she's lived in Syracuse. She's lived in Indiana. She's lived in New Jersey. She lived all these other places. I do like Tennessee, but and I like North Carolina, South Carolina, but they get hot too, right? So why would I sacrifice having 8 months that I can do stuff?
No, I get it. I totally get it. That's one of the things that I struggle with is I too need the sun, and kind of struggle personally, mentally in the deep winter here, which would be December, January, February. In Virginia, it's very gray. There's no sun. It's cold. It's not as cold as a lot of places, but it is cold and miserable. You can do nothing outside because we're not geared towards outdoor activity during those months, because our winter is really only 2 months, maybe 3 on a bad winter, but January, February are miserable. December sometimes is still nice out, admittedly, but January, February is tough, and so I personally see the draw, and I am drawn to Florida or Georgia, the coast, to help alleviate some of that. And that's why, I kind of go out in the garage and I'll stare at the car.
Well, that's also why you do a lot of fucking trips too, because you're always going to the Caribbean. You're always doing things like that. And I see you guys and I'm like, they're reading a book in the sun. Fuck that shit. I would not do that.
But like you're saying, like you would hit the tanning bed if you were in Tennessee or something, but that's like the only time we get to see the sun. And while part of that is my wife is never happy sitting at home, part of it is I need that too, just to feel better, like legitimately just feel better. And so I'm learning to take those trips and be less resistant to some of those things, because Ashley would go on vacation every day of the year, but I need them too, and that's why we're building, a new place here in Virginia, and it's in the mountains, and it's going to be great. But part of it, I'd like to have a place in the sun somewhere to and be able to escape.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, we do the same thing you guys do. It's just more hot. So James is at a concert. Matt's working hard.
Mm-hmm.
We're drinking.
Yes.
What else do you want to talk about?
I don't know. What
salty
do we
balls?
I don't know anything about that. What new projects you have going in the shop?
Oh, I got.
I find this really fascinating, and I'm waiting for you to get through some of these 964, 993 projects so you can focus on 997, 996 stuff.
So you got something from me recently.
Yeah, I didn't know we were allowed to talk about it.
You're allowed to talk about it. I don't give a shit. I mean, this is port number 3, so yay, whatever.
Yeah, so I'm super excited. I haven't installed it yet. I haven't had time. Hopefully, I'll have time next weekend, possibly. But a new shifter that will fit in my numeric shifter or numeric shifter frame.
Yeah,
this will be the shift lever, built-in knob, all in what is my car color? It is
white?
Carrera white.
How many drinks have you had?
This is number 3.
Okay.
But it's Carrera white, and it's basically the same shift lever as the numeric, and it won't require any shift knob because that's built in. It's a weighted stainless, so it's nice and heavy, and it is chunky. It's got a cool pass through, which I don't know exactly what.
So that's kind of like it's like a DSL. Is that does not stand for dick sucking lips?
DLS.
DLS. There you go. Yeah. DLS Singer style kind of hole in the middle. I had some extra ones laying around. They were for a client of mine, and he has not. We did prototypes for him, and he has not bought them as he stated he was going to. So I did not sell them. I decided to give you one. So to answer your question, I'm doing a lot of stuff. So as you guys know, some of you guys may know, some of you guys may not know. I'm doing a build for Hunter Lawrence. He's the Supercross champion.
As you're talking, I'm pulling up the picture that I took.
Okay. So Supercross champion. I'm doing his 993. There it is right there. So it has 3 adjustable, I guess, pivot points.
Yeah, pivot points. Yeah.
I think the middle one's actually the best from what everyone tells me. It is weighted.
I'm running my current one in the middle, and it's more than short enough, and it's notchy and like you want some feedback, you want some like effort, and I think I haven't tried the lowest setting. I'm not going to, because I think honestly the middle setting is fantastic. It's shorter than stock, tougher than stock. But I think the lowest point, or excuse me, the tallest setting, which would be the lowest hole on this,
which would actually give you more throw because the fulcrum point. But with that weight, I mean, I think that thing weighs like 3 pounds. It's solid. It's solid. So I think you're going to be able just to be like click, click.
It'll be great.
And I don't think you're going to get a lot of vibration because it's so damn heavy.
Right.
Not heavy that like it's overbearing. It's just a weighted shifter. So
because I'd thrown at you that I was looking at the what are they, Black Forest or something, BFE or some shit, the weighted shift levers.
We talked about that. Yeah,
because I had one years ago on the Miata, and it made a significant difference in the feel. I really enjoyed it. And so I was like, well, hell, I'll try it on this whole setup system. And you came up with this, and here we go. So,
yeah. So, currently right now I'm working on some mirrors. I'm working on mirrors that will allow a G-body owner, there's a lot of companies that have mirrors, but you have to either, fill the holes, or you take your old flag style mirrors off, and then you put these new ones on, and when you take them off, the size difference is going to either be not paint faded or paint faded, whatever the case is, and you got to buff it out. It just looks like shit, right? So I'm utilizing the same footprint as a stock OEM base with the stock OEM Porsche gasket, and I'm making a round mirror that's adjustable. There's a lot of companies out there, so we're developing that right now. I just made a 993, 964 foot pedal because I had it for the G body, but the bottom base was different. And I just finished, and they're live as of 2 days ago. Not door pulls, but switches. So they're that outlaw resto mod style, GW Singer style,
stunning looking switches.
Yes,
they look awesome.
We've made all those, and that's something that my client wanted. He wanted a Gunther style look, but naturally, if you got a friend, right?
Yep.
Why pay $1 million when hey, I can manufacture the stuff? So he wanted the look, and we did change up the design a little bit. We take all these switches, mill them, then we have to put them on. We vapor hone.
Are they made out of aluminum?
Yes, billet, 6061 billet, aluminum. We even had to make. So I see a lot of companies, and they take a switch and they put a set screw on there. What we did is we made a hole, and then we actually did a keyway in there, and then we 3D printed a tab, so it's the same tab as OEM. Nice. So you can take the headlight switch on your left hand side by your fob, and that's key. That has a little keyway in there. So we made that a 3D. We 3D printed that insert, and we inserted it, glued it in, and you're not using a stupid ass set screw that's going to rattle off, or they just never fucking work. I mean, I'm sorry, they just don't work.
It's not something that you're covering the original pool with, right? You're completely replacing it in the stock configuration.
Yeah, one set screw that small just doesn't work. You need 3, and then you see them. It's just horseshit. So we designed it a little bit better. Did the key bezel, did all the knobs, and then I also just did, which I haven't released those yet, the 964 and 993 vent slide. That little slide that has a knurl. Just finished that. That's going off to anodizing to get clear anodized. Currently, right now,
when these products hit the site, they are in stock, ready to sell, ready to ship.
Yeah. So the shitty part about this business is that I literally have, every time I make a part, minimum on a mill part is probably 30 to 40 pieces. On a lathe part, probably 200 pieces. So I manufacture these parts. I do all the vapor honing. I do the anodizing, and they sit on the damn shelf. And I wait. So I'm not going on Ren list. I'm not going on Facebook. I'm not doing anything. It's really just kind of
Have
Instagram.
You thought about doing that? I mean, Rinless especially for air cooled. There's a lot of geezers, myself included, that are still forum people or wish that forums were still functional.
No, I agree.
Go on Rinlist for knowledge, and that might be a place.
So the problem is this: I work 12, 14 hours. I don't want to go home and then be on it. When I first started my other company, I just remember my wife in my ear the whole time. I'm like, because you get that bloop bloop, the messenger thing, bloop 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 bloop, and my, Aaron. So my wife was like, "What fucking bitch is No, it's like I'm on it, Facebook. So I'm at the point right now too. I am also at the point where I can't deal with stupidity. So
it's tough on those things. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's better me just not be on it and let word of mouth, let some people that are kind of in the game.
How long have you thought about, I'm sure you have, but how long how is the difference in time from, say, advertising on something like Rinlist or Facebook?
I don't know. I've never done Rinlist.
Okay, it might be.
So I've only done
experiment.
So I've only done Facebook, not GoDaddy, Google Ads. what I will tell you guys, I don't really tell my secret, but I put stuff on eBay. So eBay's really been driving a lot of sales. Unfortunately, I get a lot of clients say, hey, can you, they offer me money. eBay takes 13.25%.
Fuck.
That's huge.
Fuck.
So I don't have these margins that everybody thinks. Like, I'm already cheaper than everybody else. So that's kind of my thing. Is like, I don't believe in Porsche tax. So I'm not going to put 300% margin on there. I'm going to put, hey, my margin that I believe is fair because I am holding the product and stuff. So I'm usually 15% cheaper than eBay takes my 13.25%. So let's just call it 30%. That's usually what a wholesaler gets. So I don't have all this margin to deal with. But eBay's been okay. And I have noticed, like I said before, with the economy the way it is and with the tariffs and everything, right before we went live, I was actually watching a guide about doing some brakes for his car, and he used a 996 adapters on his G body.
Mm-hmm. I've heard of this.
The last, I fast forward through a lot of stuff. The last thing the guy said was, yeah, I wanted to buy this kit and I paid for it. And the guy said, oh, 2 weeks, then 3 weeks, then 4 weeks. The video was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just sat there and like kind of laughed, and I was like, okay, so it's been going on for a long time. And he actually said, I was actually just thinking about finding a guy to make the damn parts myself, right?
Yeah.
So we're doing that. We're doing some mirrors. I'm trying to think what else he's got going on. Working on some stuff for Sonderworks. We're working on some stuff for him. We just started doing some door panels for my 993 to use the how would I say this? Resto Mod billet pulls, kind of like a GW style.
Okay.
Like and when you do that, you have to, print it, put it on the car, measure it, draw the holes, move the hole a millimeter, 2 millimeters.
Yep.
And a lot of people don't realize that. Like, my client is he knows, like, hey, time is money.
Yeah.
Like, for me to do just yesterday, it was 4 hours between me and Ron. And technically, I would say that would actually be 8 hours because there's two of us. Mm-hmm. So you're getting, but they only charge the gentleman.
You're getting you for free.
Yeah. Right. So, you put it out, measure, do this, move it. Okay. Print it, wait, put it out, draw it. So we're dealing with that. I think next week I start cutting carbon fiber, putting that in. And we're working on a carbon fiber 993 rear spoiler. So the rear spoiler, not spoiler, but the deck lid grill. So nice. OEM replacement, but in carbon fiber. Yep. And I'm currently working on the Carrera. Man, you know what? This is why I don't drink. So the the coolant ducts for the brakes, like in front, there's fog lights there. We just got done doing those as well. In carbon.
Yeah, that's awesome because I was just thinking of this the other day because on my 997, the Aero kit, same kit as the GT3, right? The front lip spoiler has cutouts for the brake, which are not ducts. They're, the flaps that fit on the lower control arms that direct air to the front disc. But I was thinking, why has no one adapted a normal, like, I'm sure that the cup cars and the race cars had these like true ducts, but I would love a true duct that was able to flow up to my front calipers because, I think I talked about here, I was fading my Pagid, their RS29 pads, the last track event I had. And now I've upgraded from the 997 flaps to the GT3 flaps, but they're significantly larger. Mm-hmm. But like, why not have Kevin make some true ducts that would filter air through there a lot more efficiently?
I used to do that with a R53 Mini Cooper. Like we were doing that on those cars. So if anybody listening wants to do a product, you guys can contact me in case but I'm just not going to hold a product because I really want to concentrate on air cooled. So basically 89 and newer. I don't want to have, like, there are some things that I have made. Like, I've made did I say that right? 89 and newer. Yeah. I've made some parts for like 992. And it was just because the part was so damn expensive that somebody was charging. Yeah. I was like, okay,
it's egregious.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. I'll make this part because I can let it sit on the shelf for years and I'm not losing any money. Yeah, so if there's somebody that wants to make a part, I'm open to it. Usually, like I said, it's 20 to 30 pieces. But what a lot of people don't realize is that it's not the cost of the part. You got to make fixtures. You got to make, you've been to St. Augustine. You've hung out with me, but to see how something works, like if you ever come to Tampa, to see how making a fixture in each step or each what we call, I need to stop drinking.
Weller Special Reserve right here, folks. Yeah, this is your seeing it in action.
What is it called? Anyways, op. Every op that you have to do, you have to make a fixture first. So I'm going to give you this example. This piece right here, it's aluminum. It's a bottle opener. For people that aren't listening or not viewing, whatever, it's a bottle opener. So you have a score piece. So you have this first. You have to make a fixture to hold this because you can't. If you just cut this out, it would fly out the thing. So you have to cut this in half, like grip it in half. Do this, flip it over, do this part here, flip it here, hold it. Now this is flat, so you could hold this on a vise. Do this design here. So that's 3 ops. Each time you have an op, usually, now you can do that different on a 5-axis. A 5-axis holds apart, and this moves around and does it. But there is limitations to that. For when it's slow, you don't have to do so many fixtures. But this would be a prime example. I would say this is a 2-op. I can see the line here. So this is a 3-op part. 1, 2, 3. Now, what happens if you had like something here, like on the top of this? Oh, now I have to make a fixture to hold that. So every time you make a fixture, that's another program, that's another cam. I don't charge for that. I do and I don't. I usually take that and I roll it into the part. So when I tell you that it's 30 pieces, is because that's going to be the most cost-effective way that I can take those 30 parts and roll all that into it, but not really.
Yeah, and I think discussions like this are important so that people understand that when you go to a Kevin to have a part made, the first part is super expensive, but part number 30 is relatively cheap comparatively. But also that when you're buying parts from, XYZ manufacturer that is not charging Porsche tax, that hell, this stuff can still be fairly expensive just because of the number of procedures that are required to manufacture the part.
Like your shifter.
Some of it's not just like Porsche tax. Some of it is just manufacturing expense.
Yeah, there's a gentleman that I see that's on I don't know, Robert something on Instagram. He makes a lot of one-off parts. And this guy,
are you talking about Clinton?
No,
the RSR lightweight RSI.
Yeah,
all carbon fiber,
something like that.
Yeah, it's Robert.
A lot of his photos I see that are their renderings. They're not done yet. Like, I know what's real, what's not real, but I do know that part. Some of these parts that I see are super, super expensive just because it's a one-off part. Like, for instance, that shifter that I made for you, I had to buy an 8-foot long rod of material.
Yeah.
So I'm paying for that no matter what. So do I charge the customer this or no? I can run, hey, I don't know how many I made for him, 3, something like that, 4. I held him in stock. He hasn't bought them. I gave him that price break of that said part. He only bought 1 of those parts or 2 of the parts, whatever it was. But I had to run an 8-foot bar, and they're about a foot long or something like that. So, that's 8 pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Normally on a lathe part, especially that size, I would probably do 100 of those pieces because it takes a long time to set up a lathe, and it's fast, but it just takes so much more time to set up a lathe, in my opinion, even though I don't set any of this shit up. So, so yeah, I have them. They're sitting there, and it's just kind of like, well, I can give these to my friends, well, to you. But that part is a very expensive part. Probably costs as much as your shifter, like
yeah,
your
I believe
kit.
that. Yeah, I believe that. Yeah,
Just because it was, for one, it's stainless steel,
right.
so that's not a cheap material, anyways. And for two, just stainless, you can't run it like aluminum super fast. You have to run it slow, or you're going to break a bit. A lot of coolant. And again, I'm not a machinist. I just own a machine shop, so I know how to.
I'll be
I was
going
talking.
to. I'm hoping I can get it installed next weekend because I'm going to RDR the first weekend in June, and I have to run a table for FSI, and I'll have my the front axle lift going, and I'll have this piece from you, but I also have those pieces which I think are underrated. But I actually got several comments about them. My roll bar doing
Oh yeah, I was
those
going to ask you about that.
the
The little block
blanks.
tubes. Yeah.
Yes, the blanks for the seat post, dude. I still think that's if you don't have the pieces that you created, you have holes in your plastic. There's no alternative because the bar will interfere with the seat back post, so you have to remove them. And so, you want a big hole, or do you want these nice? I covered them in Alcantara, but do you want these nice covers to cover the holes? So
did I 3D print those for you?
yes, they're 3D printed. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if you,
But I think that's a hell of a you did that one off, right? I mean, you could do them for
I
someone
think I
else.
still have the file somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. But like those are the little details in a
Well, like they say, the devil's in the details, right? So
yeah. I don't want to call my car a car build because I don't. But like the way I'm putting a car together, like a part like that is very important. Otherwise, you have black insulation behind a plastic hole, and that just looks to me shitty. And if you have a roll bar in a standard 997, you have no choice but to have that hole, or you have this part that you created because nobody else has that. I've looked.
And I think you tell me about it, and I didn't know. Like you gave me measurements and stuff like that, but I don't even know what that looks like installed because you never sent me a picture. So if anybody wants those, you can reach out to Casey, and I'll just sell them to him. And no, I don't even know what they look like. I know you gave me measurements. You sent me the part, and you said I need this. I made it, and you said yeah, cool, it fits. So
I'll find pictures for you.
right back to your original question. I don't know that I'm doing anything else. I got so much stuff. So we're going to be doing mirrors on this car as well. I have so much stuff to do on this 993, but unfortunately, it's one of those one step forward, two steps back. Like I can't do the carbon inserts because the wire harness has to go through at the bottom of that first. So I can't do that yet. I can drop the motor, but why am I dropping the motor? Just how the motor set out. I can't install the frunk stuff because I need the JRZ shock reservoirs to go through the frunk carbon fiber piece. It's kind of one of those things like, well, okay. And I have other things to do. So, and I actually talked to my client about that. And I said, look, I understand you want to get this stuff done, but I can't I'm not going to charge you twice to do the same thing. So be patient. When the thing comes in, we'll have the wire harness, we'll run it, and then we'll put the front or the carbon fiber pieces in. Then we'll fit them. I'm not going to do it.
Is he okay with this?
Yeah. He's totally 100% fine. So unlike a lot of other people, I keep my client very in a loop. Like I send him emails that I'm getting. And that's one thing that, having restored cars and stuff, I have a whole folder of every little thing that we're doing, because when you restore a car, when you do a build, pictures are part of that story, right?
Yeah.
So just like with you had your guy doing your motor, and we were all like, why are you spending this amount of money? But you said, hey, yeah, the guy communicates. He's telling me all this stuff. Same thing with him. I'm showing him like, hey, this is what we're doing. I mean, even to the point where we have like a piece of paper and we're tracing out like, his door panel, right? This is what I'm doing. Like I'm actually always working on your car. So I think that's a big part of the story, because you get to see at the end. If you don't have that, somebody I think can look at the car and be like, "Oh, really? That's cool. That's pretty nice." But you ever been to like a hot rod show? And I know that's where I kind of come from. And you got like that book. And sometimes, if you ever flip through those books, you will see, wow, what? Especially if it's a car that's really did up, like what went into that car. So, yeah.
I think that this is getting kind of way off topic, but I think that when you are building something and you provide those details, that's worth something. And at least Jake, with my engine build, it made me feel as if I was part of the process, that he allowed me to make some of these decisions on, hey, do I wait for these parts, or do we go with what I have available here now? Okay,
Right.
you want me to wait for this? Fine. The repercussions of that are X, Y, and Z. Or if we go with the parts that I have, we have X, Y.
But he gave you the option, like you just said. He said, hey, this is what it is, X, Y, and Z, or this. So a lot of people, they don't do that. They say either they put you on the back burner and they move on to another project, but they don't communicate. And with Jake, that's one of the things that, while I know he's an expensive guy, that's one of the reasons why he only takes 1 or 2 projects a year, because he's dedicating everything to that project. And when you told me like, oh yeah, this is what he's doing and stuff, I was like, oh shit. But now that I'm doing this build,
You
I'm
can
like,
understand. Yeah.
I 100% understand, because I'm just doing this one guy's, and I'm doing it like my car.
Right.
And I'm sure Jake does the same thing. Like he's doing it like his car.
Every engine is his engine, right? And I appreciated that in the time that it was being built. But after I had that incident at Flat Six Rally number 1, I appreciated even more, because the end result was that the engine survived the incident, and it's still running. It's running better than it ever has. And so while the upfront cost is a deep breath, like it takes you back, at the end of the day, you're getting a product that can survive abuse and survive stupid people doing stupid things.
Yeah.
And thank God, don't thank God, like that's a silly thing, but like I'm thankful that I made that decision, because the alternative would have been another blown engine.
Right. Right.
And the engine is stronger today than it ever has been. It's running better. The MPGs are better than ever. When I was, driving down to Roanoke, and I'm getting 24 miles to the gallon, going 85 miles an hour down the interstate.
Oh, okay.
Like, it's phenomenal. It's running, it's fantastically. And that is a testament to the quality of the build, and the testament to the quality of the products that he accepts into his build. And there's other builders out there that do similar, quote unquote, similar things. I wouldn't trust them for anything, because it's just like, you have these experiences and you're paying for the experience, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're cars. At the end of the day, they're cars. They're fun hobbies to us, and we like to get into them and make noise, and we rip them around a track or the mountains or whatever. But we enjoy the experience with these machines. And I think that Jake provided me with an experience, or provides me ongoing an experience. You are doing the same thing, and you're not going to accept a lower quality just to make a time frame.
No, in fact, my client wanted me to do it for SEMA, and I said, no, I'm not going to do it for SEMA.
There's certain things that take time, and regardless of what your being the customer thought of time frame is, doesn't match up with the manufacturing side. Because I'll tell you, the real side takes a lot longer than you expect.
And I think that if I told him yes for SEMA, it would have never made it, right? But if we're doing it now and he knows SEMA's off the line, he may get it for SEMA. And then he can go that route. But SEMA is not the Porsche Mecca. It's the V8 Mecca. It's the motorcycle Mecca. That's not, and I've told him that. So all of my stuff that I've actually had to make, I'm done. Like, you guys know how I am. I'm very OCD married. Like, I'm done. All I have to do is just either Cerakote the parts. Everything else, I'm just waiting on all the other things. So I'm waiting on engine harness. I'm waiting on some carbon fiber pieces that I have not designed. Like, we're just waiting for those parts so we can. I'm waiting on JRZ. I'm waiting on Kinsler. I'm waiting on. So remember how we talked a couple podcasts ago? I'm the same thing, right? I'm the same machine shop. I just think my brain's a little bit different. Like, I think I'm not one of those guys that's, oh yeah, let's put it on there and we'll get to it when I get to it. No, I'm always one of those guys that's like, check, get it off my list.
You like a list.
I want to be done with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I want to be done with it.
and
put it to bed. Yes. And my CAD guy is the same way. He wants to, like, he freaks out because he has so many things on his list, and I can understand where he's coming from because he kind of wigs out and I'm like, hey man, this is a week's worth of work. And I have actually had to stop putting stuff on his list for that because he'll freak out, and we're the same type of people. I mean, we are literally like, I mean, brothers, we're exactly the same. So I kind of have to, like, okay, I know this guy's the same type as I am, so I can't really put it in. So, but the problem is I will forget to put it on his list if I don't put it on immediately. So I kind of did a workaround. And yeah, we'll see what it comes. But I'm excited to do this build. My main thing is I want to do this build because I want to show, like, hey, you don't have to charge $700,000. Not to say that I'm not doing this. This isn't my business. I'm doing this because he's my friend.
Yeah.
I like the guy.
But, like, you have to, if you are into these cars, which we obviously are, you have to understand the business side of it and how much margin there is in a lot of this stuff. And granted, people like Singer, Gunther Works, etc. deserve.
I would tell you right off the bat, those guys are making a killing.
But they deserve it, right? Like, they created 100%. This market. They are creating this market. They deserve it. But at the end of the day, these things can be produced at a cheaper price and still retain that quality.
But I am of the same thing, and I do agree with them too. You're in sales. And I know I'm saying this on a podcast publicly, but for one, you don't drop your pants and give everything up at the beginning. And why leave money on the table when someone's willing to pay for it, right? So you're not going to, if someone's willing to pay for that, then charge them, right? Like, by the same token, I'm the same way. Like, I don't do a lot of things personally. I'll have somebody else do it because time is money. So I'm going to rather spend my time doing something else, and I may pay somebody else to do something else, regardless if it's something.
At day one, car number one, the market, you can't command the market value, right? But number four, let's go. But
I'm calling my wife to pick me up for 100%.
When car number 4 comes out and the market has seen the quality of product that you put out, that's when price escalation occurs, right? You have to put products out there, prove that they're market valuable, prove that they're worth what you're wanting to charge. And then when the demand comes, that's the other side of the equation. That's when you can escalate price. And so I hope that you can get to the point where someone brings you a car and you're like, yeah, it's $250,000.
But I don't want to do that. Like, I
hope
enjoy.
That's what you can do, because that's what I hope that that's a successful outcome. It
is, but it's like, for me, I don't want to be that guy that's building a car Maybe I am the bespoke guy that's just building a car and then I do one a year. And hey, because I've always built stuff and I've had a lot of cars over my lifetime. But as my wife says, I'm not even allowed to sell a car anymore.
Right.
I cannot personally sell a car anymore. My wife has to sell the car because she says, "Are you drinking fucking water?"
Yeah, my bottle's empty.
Well, you got to refill that son of a bitch. So I can't sell the car because my wife tells me
You sell
that I
too
take
cheap.
a loss.
Yeah.
Well, because my enjoyment of it is the process, right? Of building something. I just restored a 1964 CB77. Probably had about $10,000 into it because I do keep track of everything, and I think I don't know. I don't even know what I sold it for. Maybe $5,500, $4,500, something like that. All OEM NOS parts, but I think I drove it like 3 times. And when I say drove it or rode it, it was like around the parking lot just to make sure everything worked. Not even on the street because I didn't want to register it. And then I was like, okay. And my fab guy, who I'm very close with, he got so pissed off at me because he thought I was going to drive this or ride this motorcycle and didn't want to do it anymore. And he's like, what the fuck? You're just going to sell it. But for me, I've always done that. Like the journey is not, except for this fucking red car. Like I love this
doing that. Yeah.
Yes, I love this red car. It's the funnest car. Like I keep on adding more and more to it. More so than my 992, which has. I love this, and kind of like your white car, right? Like your 997. Is that what it is? This is like, it's not my forever car, but it reminds me of a bug.
Yeah.
Where like you just keep on working on it, tinking, and I've never been the guy who talks to a car. Never. Except for my wife's car, because it always broke down on her. This car, like, I do feel that, like, hey, all right, we're going on this rally. Come on. And when it had a little hiccup on me, and I was like, hey, man, actually, it's a chick. I'm like, hey, what the fuck? Like, come on. I don't have those relationships because cars for me are just, they're commodity. Like I just, okay.
It's weird because like we discussed, I don't want to say that I have a forever car because I do think that's silly.
Do you have a name? I don't have a name for any of my cars.
No, I don't name a car. I think that's a little weird. For me, that's a little weird. But I do have a relationship with it. And I do, being a tinkerer, I do have that relationship of working on it and seeing the result. And I really, really enjoy, like, I've done the suspension, the axle lift, and, I've done all these things. And I really enjoy working with my hands and seeing the result, especially in something that's in motion. It's so much fun when you go out and you've made a suspension change and you go to the mountains or you go to the track and you feel those differences. You get faster, or maybe you get slower because it was the wrong decision.
Yeah.
But like, you make these changes and it's fantastic. And that's why I've been talking in our group so much about being able to do my own alignments and such, because I want to continue to make these changes and be able to in the future make changes incrementally to see how the result is. And I think something like an alignment change, which can make such a big difference in the way the car drives and feels, is something that can keep me active, keep me working on it without actually, quote unquote, buying parts and changing parts out,
Yeah. So that being said, I definitely think like this car, I have the Weissach that Sonder Works built for me. Love the car. Beautiful car. This thing paint chips all over the place. But because I'm tinkering with it, it's more close to me. And also because of who I got it from. Like there was a story, a good friend of mine, and I've never really experienced that with a vehicle before,
which is wild with the number of vehicles that you've owned and have gone through. Yeah.
And I've had, I bought cars from a little old lady who's drove it. I've had very 66 Cadillac with 8,600 miles that I bought for $8,600. 1966 LTD Galaxy with 33,000 original miles from a little old lady who only drove it to the church. I've had some really nice cars, but this one is a little more, I asked Chris, hey, whenever you wanted to sell the car, and he kept me in mind, and he's such a nice guy that it's like, I didn't even bargain with him for price. He told me the price. Yep. Okay. I want it. I bought it from him. And because I've been drinking, just the emotional part, he gave me a fucking watch. He'd be like, hey man,
that's right.
Here's a watch for you. Also too, he's half Mexican, just like myself. So I think and we don't look Mexican. There's so many things that I hope Chris is listening. There's with this car, I really feel a special bond to it. I enjoy it.
It is so cool and so weird, right? It's a stupid car at the end of the day. It's a machine. Yeah. It doesn't know you. It doesn't care. It has no presence, yet it does. Right. And that's why I know we're car dudes. And our wives would never understand, and that's okay.
I mean, my wife does. She knows, she's had some badass trucks, and I think that's why we've been together for so long. That we grew up together, so not physically, but she is a car person, and she has seen cars break down on her, and then oh, why doesn't it break down on you? I don't know. It just doesn't
it just likes me.
Yeah, it just likes me. She has that. Oh, okay. This is the first car I will honestly say, and it's not because it's a Porsche. I've had so many bugs before that I've restored. This is the first car that I can actually, and it might be the Weller talking.
Probably.
Next podcast you can ask me the same question and be like, "What the fuck was I even saying?" I don't even know what I was. I might have to listen to this podcast.
Take it
next
down,
week and be like, what the fuck was I rambling? But this honestly I think is the first car that I've actually felt some sort of bond with.
Yeah.
And I've never, over I don't know how many cars I've had, 50 cars or something, this car has really it means a little bit to me. So, and plus, we've talked about before, this is the Porsche group of people. I hang around all Porsche people, and it's not because of the car. It's just we're all like-minded, right? Now I do hang out with other people too, but little by little, I'm finding myself okay, Porsche. Or I hang out with a Porsche person, but then they buy a Porsche because they're like, hey, introduce me to this, and that's how we've all kind of met. So
it's just like the watches, right? I
100%.
I wasn't a classic Seiko guy until I met y'all. I just liked watches, but I liked mechanical things, and now all of a sudden I've got.
And how many? When you first met us, how many watches did you actually have to your name?
I think
2.
No, I had 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's one of those. Oh, what kind of watch is that? Oh,
yep.
I'm wearing a fucking piece of shit Swatch today, but it's just one of those things that's okay, hey, yeah. It definitely, having a hobby like this, I used to be into hunting and guns and sporting clays and did competitive sporting clays. This is a little bit different. It definitely is a little bit different. So
I think it's a good place to wrap it then.
Yeah,
it's a little bit
for sure. Yeah, so I'll see if I can have Matt do ding, the little thing. 1, 2, 3, 4.
That'd be good.
Yes. So thank you guys for watching. I would love to hear your comments on what do we ask for? People to comment. Just a couple of things.
Why Weller sucks.
No, that wasn't it.
Oh.
There was something that I asked the listeners to comment on. Oh, sodas. What's your soda?
Yep,
I can't believe I actually remember that. What's your soda?
L81, Squirt, Ski.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's your soda of your hometown or that you can remember? And then other than that, thanks for listening, guys. I know this is the second longest one at 1 hour and 30 minutes. I think you and James had one on Hi-Fi, which I've never listened to that, but I think that was 2 hours long. So,
good episode.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. The name of this one's going to be Two Guys, One Cup.
That's right.
But there's actually 2 cups. So thanks for
cups.
watching, guys. Let me see if I can end this. As Matt says, like, share, subscribe, and follow us. I don't fucking know. Whatever.
Whatever he says.
See you guys. Bye.